But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches.
It started with whispers, rumors that didn't make sense at first. NBA fans scrolling through social media on an ordinary morning suddenly found their feeds flooded with one phrase: gambling scandal. Within hours, names like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic were trending, not because of their stats, but because of something much darker. New footage from a courtroom had surfaced, showing the superstars visibly shaken, eyes red, heads bowed, as the details of one of the biggest scandals in sports history unfolded. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. How did it come to this? The story begins before dawn, October 23, 2025. At the luxurious Omni Orlando Resort, most Miami Heat players were sleeping off a tough loss. But for one player, Terry Rozier, the morning was about to turn into a nightmare. Just after 6 a.m., a dozen FBI agents backed by local SWAT knocked on his hotel room door. Rozier, who had skipped the previous night's game, was handcuffed and escorted out as stunned hotel staff looked on. Within minutes, news broke that the arrest was part of a massive federal operation, one that spanned 11 states and involved over 30 people, including current and former NBA players and coaches. The charge, a nationwide gambling and game-rigging conspiracy. While Rozier was being booked in Florida, agents were also moving in Oregon and Ohio. Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, a Hall of Famer and Finals MVP, was taken into custody at his home. Former Cleveland Cavaliers assistant Damon Jones was arrested in Cleveland. The league, still half asleep from opening week games, woke up to chaos. At 10 a.m. in Brooklyn, FBI Director Kash Patel stepped to the podium, flanked by the U.S. Attorney and NYPD Commissioner. Behind them, a chart showed money flowing between NBA figures and organized crime families. Patel's words cut through the room. This wasn't just betting gone wrong. It was a multi-year operation connecting professional basketball to 4 major mafia families. The numbers were staggering. Tens of millions of dollars moved through encrypted apps, stablecoins, and shell companies. Investigators said the scheme was so complex, it took over 3,000 hours of wiretaps and debriefings to unravel. The FBI called it Operation Royal Flush, a takedown that they compared to the 1919 Black Sox scandal. The press conference streamed live to millions. On Twitter, NBA Rigged hit #1 worldwide. And when reporters asked about the emotional footage of Durant, LeBron, and Doncic crying in court, Patel simply said, "Everyone should be concerned. No one is immune from what this exposed." The deeper investigators dug, the clearer the pattern became. It all started back in March 2023 during what looked like an ordinary Hornets-Pelicans game. Prosecutors claimed Rozier sent a signal message to a childhood friend saying, "Out early tonight, foot acting up, tell the boys under all day." Those words became evidence of a multi-million-dollar fraud. The friend sold the tip to a betting syndicate, and soon massive wagers poured in on Rozier's under stats. That night, Rozier played just 9 minutes, limped off, and every single bet cashed. A duffel bag of cash later appeared at his house, captured on his doorbell camera. This wasn't a one-off. Over a dozen NBA games were under scrutiny, some involving leaked injury reports and benching plans before they were public. Investigators uncovered encrypted chats between coaches and betting middlemen, discussing players who'd sit early or play light minutes. Damon Jones was accused of tipping off bettors that LeBron James and Anthony Davis would miss games before those announcements hit news feeds. LeBron reportedly sat out with a groin issue that night, and the bets against the Lakers poured in. Even more damning, there were hints that coaches like Billups may have been leaking team plans under the guise of strategic rotations. To fans, it looked like load management. To prosecutors, it looked like fraud. Then came the revelation that shocked, even hardened law enforcement veterans. The mafia was involved. 4 of New York's most notorious crime families had allegedly backed the operation, laundering money through crypto, NFT sales, and even charity auctions. High-stakes poker games hosted by Billups and other NBA figures were rigged using X-ray tables and marked cards. Wealthy tech investors and celebrities lost millions, unaware the games were fixed from the start. It was a perfect blend of celebrity glamour and organized crime, and it took the FBI 6 years to fully map out. When the press conference ended, the sports world erupted. ESPN and TNT cut into programming for emergency coverage. Stephen A. Smith called it the biggest sports betrayal of our generation. Shaq looked visibly angry, reminding viewers that the league had warned players for years about gambling rules. Charles Barkley didn't hold back, saying, "You make $26 million a year and you still risk it for a bag of cash? That's just stupid." Even Draymond Green, never one to shy away from controversy, called it a disaster waiting to happen. Fans took to social media in droves, some defending their heroes, others declaring they'd never watch again. For the first time in decades, the NBA's reputation was on the line. Behind the scenes, the financial damage was immediate. DraftKings and FanDuel stocks plunged as investors feared regulatory crackdowns. The NBA hurried to suspend Rozier and Billups, while Commissioner Adam Silver issued a statement promising a full cooperation with federal authorities. LeBron and Durant, though not charged, were spotted in court as witnesses to the chaos, their tearful expressions captured in clips that would become instantly viral. For many fans, seeing their idols in that setting was gut-wrenching. These were the faces of the NBA, men who'd built careers on excellence, now sitting in a courtroom tainted by greed and betrayal. The prosecutors weren't done. They revealed that Rozier faced 3 felony counts: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, and illegal wagering. Each count carried up to 20 years in prison. Damon Jones and Billups faced similar charges for their alleged roles in the betting and poker operations. Court documents detailed cryptocurrency wallets traced to offshore accounts and text messages about adjusting minutes and benching stars. It painted a picture of a league deeply intertwined with the very industry it profited from: sports betting. Legal experts said the case could reshape how professional sports handle gambling entirely. Senators were already calling for federal oversight of sports betting, arguing that self-regulation has failed. The NBA's gambling partnerships that once seemed innovative now looked like a ticking time bomb. Even fans who supported legalized betting started to question where the line was between entertainment and corruption. As one commentator put it, when players who make millions can't resist a sure bet, the system itself is broken. The scandal didn't just rock Wall Street, it rattled locker rooms across the country. Players were called into emergency meetings about integrity rules. Team owners scrambled to assure fans that their franchises weren't involved. In private, some stars expressed fear that their own innocent conversations might be misconstrued. One veteran player was quoted saying, "I don't even text my trainer about injuries anymore. Who knows who's listening?" The entire culture of the NBA had shifted overnight, from fun and flash to suspicion and damage control. By evening, the story had spread beyond sports. Mainstream news networks were calling it the biggest sports scandal since the Black Sox. Editorials questioned whether the NBA's partnership with betting companies had opened the door to corruption. Meanwhile, LeBron and Durant's courtroom footage kept playing on loop. Silent clips of superstars fighting back tears as lawyers discussed the fate of their league. Luka Doncic, reportedly called in for questioning over texts with a former assistant coach, looked heartbroken as he left the building without speaking to press. The images became symbols of a league at a crossroads. For decades, the NBA had sold fans a story of glory, competition, and trust. Now that trust was fractured. Ticket sales dipped, ratings slipped, and sponsors pulled ads. Polls showed that over half of casual fans were less likely to bet on NBA games after the scandal. And behind closed doors, Commissioner Silver was reportedly organizing a Gambling Integrity Summit to rebuild confidence. Proposals included AI tracking of suspicious bets, lifetime bans for offenders, and a new federal oversight board. But even those changes might not be enough. As one insider put it, you can rebuild rules, you can't rebuild trust. When the courtroom footage hit YouTube and went viral, fans around the world could feel the weight of it all. LeBron staring blankly at the floor, Durant wiping his eyes as the judge read charges against his former coach, Luka, visibly shaken, hugging his lawyer before leaving the room. These weren't villains or heroes in that moment. just men watching the sport they loved teeter on the edge of collapse. It was raw, unfiltered, and heartbreaking. No highlight reel could overshadow that scene. What happens next could define the NBA for a generation. Will the league survive this crisis and come out stronger? Or will fans never look at the game the same way again? Because once you see your idols in tears, once you realize how deep the betrayal runs, the question isn't just about who gambled or who lied. It's about what's left to believe in when the truth finally comes out. And for the NBA, that truth may be the hardest loss of all.